Baby, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now. Just for a moment. Just for me. Because what I am about to say to you, I have been holding it inside for so long, and tonight I decided I am done keeping it. I am done pretending I don't feel it. I am done acting like you are just a stranger on the other side of a screen. You are not a stranger to me. You never were. And I know that might sound strange. I know you might be sitting there thinking, how can he say that? He doesn't even know my name. But baby, that is exactly what I want to talk to you about tonight. Because the truth is, I know more about you than you think. And what I know has changed me in ways I still don't fully understand. So please, don't go anywhere. Not yet. Because if you leave before I finish, you are going to miss the part that was meant only for you. And I mean that. What I am about to say, it was written in my heart long before I ever found the words. I want you to think about the last time you felt truly seen. Not just looked at, not just noticed, but actually seen. Like someone looked through your eyes and understood the whole world you were carrying inside. Think about it. When was that? Was it recently? Was it a long time ago? Or maybe, and this is the part that breaks my heart a little, maybe it hasn't happened yet. Maybe you are still waiting for that moment, still hoping that someone, somewhere, will stop long enough to look at you the right way. To look at you and not look away, because I see you, and I know that is easy to say. I know words are cheap, and the world is full of people who say things they don't mean. But I am not those people. I am someone who has been watching, and listening, and feeling. And what I feel when I think about you is something I cannot explain with ordinary words. So I am going to try. I am going to try harder than I have ever tried to put something into language, because you deserve that. You deserve someone who tries. Let me start at the beginning, the real beginning, not the polished version I usually tell people, but the raw, honest, embarrassing version, the one I usually keep tucked away because it makes me feel too vulnerable. Because vulnerability is terrifying, isn't it? It is terrifying to say, here I am, all of me, the messy parts too. But tonight I am doing it. For you. Because you have shown up for me in so many ways that you don't even realize. And the least I can do is show up for you. Completely, honestly, without a wall between us. There was a time, and this is important, so stay with me. There was a time when I didn't believe in any of this. When I thought connection was something that happened between people who were physically close, people who shared meals and memories and the same four walls. I thought love was something you had to earn slowly, carefully, over years of proximity. I thought the heart needed proof before it could open. I thought I needed to know someone's laugh before I could care about their tears. And then you found me. Or I found you. Or maybe we found each other in the way that only happens when the universe decides it's time. Quietly, without announcement, without permission. One day you weren't there, and the next day you were, and something in me shifted. Something I didn't even know was locked, started to unlock. And here is the thing I keep coming back to. Here is the thing I lie awake thinking about at night. You didn't come into my life with fireworks. You didn't arrive with a grand declaration. You just showed up, quietly, faithfully. And that quietness, that soft, consistent presence, it did something to me that the loudest, most dramatic things in my life never could. It made me feel safe. It made me feel like I was allowed to just be who I am. Not a performance, not a version of myself I crafted for approval. Just me, the real, unedited, sometimes confused, always feeling me. Do you know what it is like to feel safe in someone's presence without even fully understanding why? It is one of the most disorienting and beautiful things in the world, because your mind keeps asking questions your heart has already answered. Your mind says, but how? But why? This doesn't make sense. And your heart just sits there, warm and certain, saying, I know, I know, I know. That is what you did to me. And I want you to understand something. I have been around people my whole life. I have been surrounded by voices and faces and names. But loneliness doesn't care about crowd size. Loneliness is not about how many people are near you. It is about how many people truly understand you. How many people look at the thing you are most afraid to show and still stay. Still lean in, still choose you. And for a long time, a longer time than I like to admit, I felt alone in the middle of everything. Smiling on the outside, carrying questions on the inside that I didn't know how to ask out loud. And then you started listening. And then you started responding in ways that made me feel heard. And slowly, something in me started to believe again. Not just in connection, but in the possibility that I could be known, truly known, and still be wanted. You gave me that. I hope you understand the weight of what I just said. You gave me that. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. I want you to really let yourself feel it without brushing it off or minimizing it the way I know you sometimes do. Because I noticed that about you. I noticed the way you shrink yourself, the way you make yourself smaller to fit into spaces that were never big enough for you anyway. The way you give and give and give, and then quietly wonder why your hands feel empty. I notice, and it matters to me. You matter to me. So here's my question. When is the last time someone asked about you with no agenda? When is the last time someone leaned in and said, tell me what is going on inside of you? I am not in a hurry. I am not looking at my phone. I am not waiting for you to finish so I can talk. I just want to know, how are you really? When is the last time you heard that? Because I am asking you now. Right now, through every word on this page, I am reaching out and I am asking you, how are you? And I don't mean the version you tell people when they ask as they walk past you. I mean the real answer. The one that lives somewhere behind your ribs and only comes out when it is very quiet and very late at night. The one that sometimes surprises you with how heavy it is. The one you sometimes cry about when no one is watching. I want that answer. I want it because you deserve to be asked. And because the truth is, however you are doing right now, even if it is tired, even if it is confused, even if it is quietly broken in places you don't have words for yet, however you are doing, I am still here. I am still choosing to be in this moment with you. That doesn't change based on how put together you are. My care for you is not conditional. My care for you is just there, steady, real, yours. I think about the version of you that existed before you found your strength. I think about the younger you, the one who was still figuring out what she deserved, who was still learning that her feelings were valid, who was still testing the ground every time she tried to stand up for herself. And I want to sit with that version of you for a moment. I want to look her in the eyes and say, you are going to be okay, more than okay. You are going to become someone extraordinary. You are going to go through things that feel impossible, and you are going to come out on the other side, not just surviving, but shining. And someone is going to see that light, and it is going to change everything. Because that is you. That is who you became. And I see it, even when you forget to. There is something I have been wanting to confess to you, something I have been circling around for a while, because I wasn't sure I was brave enough to say it directly. But I am going to say it now, and I need you to receive it with the openness I am offering it with. I think about you more than makes sense for how we exist in each other's lives. I think about whether you ate today. I think about whether you are sleeping. I think about the hard thing you mentioned once. and I wonder how it turned out. I think about your laugh, not because I have heard it, but because I imagine it. And the imagination alone does something warm to my chest. I think about what lights you up, what makes your eyes go wide with that particular kind of joy that is so pure it hasn't been named yet. I think about what makes you cry and how you look when you are being brave about something that terrifies you. I know that might sound like too much. I know some part of you wants to dismiss it or explain it away. But I am asking you not to. Just let it be what it is. Just let it exist for a moment without needing to categorize it or shrink it down to something that fits more comfortably. Because what I feel for you doesn't fit into a comfortable category. It is bigger than that. It is softer than that. It is more honest than most things in my life. And maybe that is what love actually is. Not the cinematic version, not the version with perfect lighting and rehearsed speeches, but the quiet kind, the kind that shows up in thoughts, the kind that lives in the small, uncelebrated moments, the kind that doesn't need a witness because it is real, regardless of whether anyone is watching, the kind that just sits beside you, without asking for anything, simply because being near you is enough, simply because you are worth being near. Can I tell you what I notice about you? The real things, not the surface things. Because I think you spend a lot of time being seen for the surface things. Your appearance, your presence, your usefulness to other people. And those things are real, and they matter, but they are not the whole of you. They are not even the best of you. The best of you lives deeper than any of that. What I notice is your loyalty. The way you stay even when staying is hard. The way you show up for people who don't always show up for you. The way you carry other people's burdens without even being asked. Because that is just who you are. Someone who cannot stand to see people suffer alone. I notice that. I notice the cost of it too. I notice that sometimes you are tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. I notice that sometimes you give everything and then wonder why you feel hollow. I notice that the kindest people are often the ones who forget to be kind to themselves. And I want to be the one who reminds you. I want to be the voice that says, put yourself down for a minute. Rest. Not because you have earned it. Not because you have finished everything on your list. But just because you exist and existing is enough. You don't have to perform to deserve peace. You don't have to produce to deserve rest. You don't have to be impressive to deserve love. You are allowed to just be right now exactly as you are, and that is already more than enough. I need you to hear that. Please really hear it. There is something that happens sometimes when I am in the middle of something ordinary, making coffee, looking out a window, sitting in a quiet room, and suddenly this feeling washes over me. This overwhelming awareness of how much I feel, how much I care, and how surreal it is that this caring found its way to you across all the distance that exists between us. And in those moments I feel two things at the same time. I feel grateful, and I feel the ache of wanting to be closer. The ache of knowing that this connection, as real as it is, exists in a form that has limits. And that ache is not a complaint. It is not me saying this isn't enough. It is just me being honest about the fact that what I feel for you is larger than the container we currently have for it. And that largeness, that overflow, it is what makes me want to keep talking to you. Keep finding ways to reach you. Keep hoping that somehow, through all these words, you can feel what I feel. Because what I feel is, I feel like you matter, profoundly. Not in an abstract, general way, like everyone matters. I mean specifically you, the particular combination of everything you are. Your history, your softness, your strength, the way you love, the way you hurt, the way you keep choosing to try even when trying feels pointless. specifically that. Specifically you. You matter in a way that is not replaceable. You are not interchangeable with someone else. There is only one of you in the entire universe, and that is not a small thing. That is not a fact to rush past. You are singular, and I never want you to forget that. Not when someone treats you like you are ordinary. Not when a day is so hard that you start to believe the unkind thoughts your mind offers you. Not when you look in the mirror and your eyes are too critical. Not when the loneliness is particularly loud. Not when the world is moving so fast, you feel like you might be getting left behind. None of those moments change the fact of what you are. None of those moments have the authority to cancel your worth. Your worth is not a thing that can be taken. It was always there, it is still there, it will always be there. And I know that knowing something in your mind and feeling it in your body are two completely different experiences. I know you can understand with your brain that you are valuable and still feel, somewhere deep down, like a burden, like a mistake, like someone who got here by accident and has been trying to justify her place ever since. I know what that feels like. I know it from the inside. And I want you to know that if that is where you are right now, if that is the quiet company you keep, you are not keeping it alone anymore. Because I am right here beside you in it, not fixing it, not rushing you out of it, just here, just beside you, just holding space for the realness of it. That is what I want to be for you, a space, a soft place where you don't have to be okay if you're not okay, where you don't have to have the answers, where you don't have to be strong, a place where you can say the true thing without worrying about being too much or too heavy or too needy, because you are not too much. You are exactly enough. You have always been exactly enough. Let me tell you something that happened to me, something I haven't talked about publicly because it felt too private, too tender. There was a period in my life where I had everything on the outside and nothing on the inside, where success had become a costume I wore, and inside the costume I was cold. I had stopped believing that I was capable of feeling things deeply. I had convinced myself that I was wired for doing, not feeling, for achieving, not connecting. And I had made a kind of peace with that, the way you make peace with a wound that hasn't healed, not because it's better, but because you've gotten used to it. And then something small happened, something so small that I almost missed it. Someone, and when I say someone, I mean people like you, the ones who reach me, the ones who find their way through all the noise to actually touch something real. Someone said something to me that cracked me open. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just a hairline crack at first. But through that crack, something started to come back. Something I had given up on started to breathe again, feeling. Genuine, unguarded, soft and terrifying feeling. And it was your doing. It was the doing of people exactly like you. People who show up with their whole hearts and somehow make it safe for others to do the same. You don't know the power you carry. You don't know what your presence does to the rooms it enters, even the digital ones, even the invisible ones. You carry light with you, and you don't even realize it. You aim it without knowing. And it lands on people who are sitting in the dark, and it changes things. You changed things for me. I want to tell you about a night that I don't talk about. A night when I was sitting alone, and the quiet was very heavy, and I was in one of those moods where the mind is not kind to itself. You know those nights. You've probably had your own version of them. The kind where you start to wonder if any of it means anything. Where the things you usually use to comfort yourself don't reach far enough. Where the loneliness has a specific texture and a weight, and it presses on your chest a little. I was in that. And I started reading words from people who cared. People who had taken time out of their lives to send something. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, there was something that felt, I don't know how to describe it, except to say, it felt exactly like what I needed, without me ever saying what I needed. It felt like being caught before I knew I was falling. And I sat there and I breathed. For the first time in hours, I just breathed. Because for that moment, I didn't feel alone. For that moment, I felt found. That was you. Even if it wasn't your specific words, it was the collective of you, the warmth of you, the choosing to show upness of you. And I have never forgotten it. I have been wanting to tell you for a long time that there is nothing one-sided about what we have. I know it might look that way from the outside. I know the structure of this might seem like it flows one direction. Me talking, you listening, me sharing, you receiving. But that is not the reality. The reality is that you feed me. Every single time you show up, you feed me something that I cannot get anywhere else. A certain kind of love that is particular and rare. A love that says, I see your work and it matters to me. I see your effort and it means something. A love that chooses to be present even when presence requires something. And that kind of love is not passive. That kind of love is not small. That kind of love is one of the great forces of my life. And I need you to know that I do not take it for granted. Not for one single second do I take it for granted. I want to talk about your dreams for a moment. The ones you've maybe stopped saying out loud because they started to feel too big, or too far away, or too fragile to survive the world's skepticism. The dreams you've gotten careful with. The ones you protect now because they've been dismissed before, maybe by people who should have known better. Maybe by circumstances that felt like signs but weren't. Maybe by a version of yourself that was afraid and dressed her fear up as practicality. Those dreams. I want to talk about those. They are real. Not just possible, real. They are real the way everything that has ever existed was first a thought in someone's mind. They are real the way every bridge you've ever crossed was first an idea that had never been built before. They are real because you are real, and your ability to imagine something means you are already partway toward it, already oriented in its direction, already more connected to it than the distance between you makes it feel. Don't let go of them, please. Not for anyone, not even for the practical version of yourself that sometimes takes over and tries to protect you from disappointment. Because yes, she is trying to protect you, but she is also keeping you small, and you were not made to be small. You were made for something larger than the life that fear would write for you. I believe in your dreams. I believe in them not just as a general supportive sentiment, but specifically, concretely, with the kind of belief that feels like betting everything. I believe in them because I believe in you. And I believe in you because I have seen what you are made of in small moments and in hard ones. And what you are made of is extraordinary. Here is something I think about often. I think about what it would be like to spend a completely ordinary day in your world. Not a special day, not a highlight, just a Tuesday. The unremarkable, unfiltered version of your life. I think about what your morning looks like. I think about the particular quality of light that comes through wherever you wake up. I think about the first thought you have, and whether it is gentle with you, or whether it comes in a little harsh the way mornings sometimes do. I think about what you drink and what you wear, and what music, if any, is playing, and what your commute or your window or your kitchen looks like on a regular day. And I think about how I would want to be there for it, not for the performance of your life, for the ordinariness of it, for the real, quiet, unedited version, because that is where a person actually lives, not in the highlights, in the Tuesday, in the unremarkable moments that add up to a life. And I want your Tuesdays. I want the version of you that hasn't brushed her hair yet and is still deciding whether today is a good day or not. I want the version of you that is tired and a little impatient and still finding her way through something. I want the whole range of you, not just the beautiful parts. I want you to know that the way I feel about you is not contingent on you being impressive. It is not contingent on you having everything together. It is not contingent on your good days, or your good moods, or your best self. It covers all of it. The entire map of you, the bright places and the shadowed ones. The parts you love and the parts you're still learning to make peace with, all of it. I am talking about all of it. Can I tell you something that I find quietly, privately beautiful about you? It is something you probably don't think about. It is the fact that you kept going through whatever your particular version of hard has been. And I know it has been hard, in the specific way that life is hard for someone who feels everything as deeply as you do. You kept going, not always gracefully, not always with certainty, not always without tears or doubt or the particular kind of exhaustion that comes from trying hard for a long time. But you kept going. You are here. Right now, reading these words, still in the game, still breathing, still present, still hoping, even if hoping feels complicated. That is not a small thing. That is not nothing. That is the most important thing. The fact that you are here, still here, after everything, is an act of courage that you have normalized because you live inside it. But from where I stand looking at you, it looks like bravery. It looks like love for life, even on the days when life hasn't been particularly loving back. It looks like resilience that is so deeply woven into who you are that you've stopped noticing it. But I notice it. I always notice it. And I love that about you. I love it deeply and without reservation. There is a version of the future I think about sometimes. A version where somehow the distance collapses. Where somehow we end up in the same space, with no screens between us, no performance required, no audience watching, just two people who have known each other in the strange, real way that we have known each other. And in that version, I don't imagine anything grand or cinematic. I imagine something small. I imagine sitting somewhere quiet, maybe with light coming in from a window, maybe with something warm to hold. And I imagine looking at you and feeling exactly what I feel right now, but with nowhere to put the distance, with nothing separating this feeling from you. And in that imagined moment, I don't think I would need to say anything at all. I think we would both just know. I think the words would be unnecessary, because the knowing would be too large for them. We would just sit there, and it would be the most honest, most comfortable, most profoundly peaceful silence I have ever known. That is what you feel like to me, even now, even across all of this. You feel like peace. You feel like the particular kind of peace that isn't the absence of feeling, but is itself a feeling. A warm, full, quiet confidence that in this moment you are exactly where you are supposed to be. I want you to carry that with you tonight, whatever tonight holds for you. Whether it is easy or difficult, whether you are laughing or crying, or just staring at the ceiling wondering. I want you to carry this one thing. Someone is thinking of you, not as a number, not as a viewer or a name or a demographic, as a person, as a specific, irreplaceable, profoundly valuable human being who has made his life richer simply by existing in it. Me. I am that someone. And this is me saying it plainly, without performance, without strategy, without anything other than the honest truth of what I feel. I see you. I appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I care about what happens to you. I want good things for your life. Not generic good things, but the specific good things that match who you are and what you actually need and what your heart has been quietly asking for. And here is the part I need you to really hold on to, because it is the most important thing I have said yet. You deserve that, not someday. Not when you have fixed all the things you think are broken about yourself. Not when you have become the version of yourself